I'm just going to keep this brief because I don't want to go off the way that it seems like so many others are going off on the Ye interview on InfoWars. Of course, I already talked about it a little bit the other day, but what's irritating me to no end right now is oh shit, he crazy, he need to take his meds, he crazy. He's having a meltdown. He's having a public meltdown. This is just, he shouldn't be. He needs to see a doctor now. It's a cruelty to put him in front of a camera and have an interview with him because he's just losing his mind in front of the world, and it's just unseemly for us to be shown this man who's just losing his marbles in front of us. No, shut up. That's not true. It's not what's happening. Look, I don't know the guy personally, obviously, but I've observed him over the years. He's been in the public eye for a good 2 decades. So we've, if you're interested in seeing what he's all about, what he's always been all about, what his personality is like, there's no break. There's no discontinuity right now from the way he was before just now. What's different is, the Jew stuff, the Hitler stuff. I mean, I will agree that's something that he hasn't spoken out about before. Although I saw someone's TikTok the other day, which showed that he did. There's some song where he says you can say nigga nigga, but don't mention Hitler. And there's some other song where he talks about the cheap Jews and his family. Ooh, I said Jew. There's like a couple of lines like that. I don't know what those songs are. I don't know his musical corpus all that well, but anyway, it was interesting. Who knows how long he's had these kinds of ideas and beliefs, and now he's just going public with them, whatever they are. It's not exactly clear. Does he actually like and admire Hitler as a I don't know, as a leader of a nation, or is it like I love Hitler because I'm a Christian and we're supposed to love everybody? It seemed like it was sort of a slipping back and forth. Don't get me wrong. There's plenty that can be. There's plenty that can be broken down in that interview, and there were lots of really strange moments in that interview. I'm not trying to say, oh, nothing to see here, move along. I mean, I don't know what the hell to make of the mask. The mask is really strange. But it's Ye doing his performative thing. He's a performer. He's somewhat of an exhibitionist. I can relate in a way. I obviously don't have the same audience that he has, but I understand the urge to perform and the itch to I don't know, to put something in your presentation that alters your appearance and that gets people talking and that maybe, has in some way adds something to what it is that you're trying to say, or at least provokes discussion. The thing over the mesh thing over his face was really strange, throughout the whole interview. I wish that Alex had asked him about it, but he didn't. I think Alex was really just trying to be, was trying to be nice to him, trying to be, trying to let him talk, but also, say what he thought about certain things. So when Hitler stuff came up, then Alex had to come and say, well, I'm not into Hitler. I don't like the Nazis, but the communists were probably worse, and so on and so forth. His own take on things. But But it's also funny. Another hilarious thing in the interview is how Alex Jones became the voice of reason, and I don't think the world is used to seeing him in that way. I'm not saying the man can't be reasonable. I'm not saying anything about him as a person. I'm just saying his persona is just of a crazy a man growling and making noises and doing all this. His presentation style. Talk about having a persona. Um, you know, uh, Alex Jones has embraced the persona where he's a little, you know, uh, he yells and pounds the table and says crazy stuff and just spazzes out and does this or does that. I mean that's Alex Jones, but in this interview, Alex Jones was the straight man, and this guy with this gimp mask, as they've called it, over his face. Uh, he's the jester now. He's become the court jester of the world. Um, and if you look, there's a very interesting moment. I didn't watch the whole interview, but I watched most of it. There's an interesting moment where um, it's one of those moments where Alex Jones is sort of trying to say, so you like Hitler, you like the way that you like the clothes, you like the aesthetic, but but that's it. And Ye says, no, there's so many things that I love. I love Hitler. It's like very, very emphatic. And on the other side of Alex Jones, where Nick Fuentes is sitting, you can see him smiling and nodding. And you'd think that if Fuentes is his handler or whatever role he's supposed to play in Ye's campaign, if that's what it is, if that's what this is, if then you would think that Fuentes would want him to chill out and would be kind of like the typical normal handler would be someone who tries to smooth everything over, right? And someone who, like, at that moment, he might say, "Okay, why don't we break? Why don't we take a break? Why don't we cut the cameras or something like that?" He'd go into panic mode. But instead, Nick is smiling and nodding, like, "Yeah, go off, do your thing. Talk about how much you love Hitler." Okay, so yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. But it's not. But I mean, it is It is a crazy moment. But Ye himself is not a crazy man. He is what he has. He's not losing it. He's not. There's not this radical discontinuity between what he's doing now and what he was doing before. He's been a performer for a long, long time. He clearly enjoys performing. He's very mercurial, personality wise. He's very impulsive and very bold. And he'll do stuff and say stuff without really thinking about what he's doing or what he's saying. I mean, I think within all of that, there's, he's actually a thoughtful man in many ways. So it's an interesting paradox. You see him talking sometimes, and he really sounds like he's got it together, and like these are things that he's thought about. He has these critiques of, for instance, the way Black history is taught. He says, we always start with the slaves, but we never learn about, the more dignified side of African history and these certain figures. I guess it's what white nationalists have lampooned before as the "we was Kangs" perspective. But he does, again, at that moment where he's saying this, he's saying it in a way that really sounds like somebody who knows what he's talking about. And I've heard other times where he's just amazingly articulate and really got it together. But at the same time, this is the same guy who went off script in, I think it was 2005 or 2006, early on in his career, after Hurricane Katrina happened, and he was supposed to just come on and say some rote thing about, please help. There's a lot of people who need a lot of assistance. This is a terrible tragedy that's unfolded here. And instead he went off script and said George Bush doesn't care about black people. And everybody around him said, "What's he doing? What is he talking about?" But more notoriously, there was the moment at the Grammy Awards when he grabbed the microphone away from Taylor Swift, and shouted that said, "I'm going to let you finish. I'm going to let you finish." But Beyonce should have won this award. I think looking back, I think the only really cringe part of that is how much he was simping for Beyonce, who of course was with Jay-Z, who brought him into the business. So there was maybe some, like, that's the one thing about that, actually, about that whole event, that whole incident, that looking back, I feel that the only thing that really makes me cringe, even though the rest of it was, the fact that he took the microphone away from Taylor Swift, I mean, that was obviously inappropriate. But I don't mind it as much now. I remember at the time thinking, "Oh, what was the word that was used to describe him? What a knucklehead." I think President Obama called him a knucklehead. It became this big international incident. But I mean, those acts, the times when he was doing that kind of stuff, and when he got off script in 2015, and he started talking about how people in the industry had betrayed him, and and how he wasn't on board with Hillary Clinton, and all these kinds of things, and these were long rants that he was going into at his shows. It was unusual, yeah, but it was Kanye being Kanye. So the fact that his handler conspired with his doctor, and of course them both being of the same ethnicity, is part of what made Kanye start to think, I think, in the terms of about the Jews, and the way that he has been thinking about them lately. The fact that they conspired to have him hospitalized against his will, just because he had been saying stuff at his shows that they thought was weird and erratic, and because he was actually saying bad things about their chosen candidate, Hillary Clinton, and expressing support for Donald Trump. Well, that couldn't stand. He had to be crazy, so they involuntarily hospitalized him, and that was a travesty. Again, Kanye being Kanye. It's just who he is. He's mercurial. He is compulsive, or impulsive, I should say. He's bold. He's definitely more than a little eccentric. Very talented, an artist. So yeah, this is different territory for him. He's moved from one place to another. He's no longer a fashion designer, billionaire celebrity who gets to hang out with the bigwigs. He's had this. I can't even begin to speak about his marriage. I don't know what would have brought someone like him and someone like Kim Kardashian together, except that at one time I do think Kanye really wanted wanted the fame. He wanted the money. He wanted to be one of the kings of the world, and he sort of liked having all that stuff. But right now, because after his conversion, and I get the feeling that Christianity has always played a role in his mind, but it was just more recently that he had this true kind of conversion, and that's introduced this new aspect to how he lives, and that he tries not to cuss, although he sometimes does cuss, that he doesn't want his children brought up within this sick culture that is Hollywood. But he's still, part of him still wants to be. It's hard to lose what you had, and what in some ways helped you define yourself. He defined himself as this successful entrepreneurial fashion, somebody who contributed to the world of high fashion, as well as being an artist and a rapper and all those kinds of things. And now that's all gone. He's lost all of that. And I think he wanted to lose it in a way because he wants to be free from that terrible culture, but at the same time there's some in some ways it's difficult for him to cut ties totally. So there's stuff going on in his mind, and now he's hanging out with Nick Fuentes and Milo Yiannopoulos. I would have never thought that was going to happen. And Laura Loomer is trying to get trying to edge her way into his inner circle, and and giving these weird interviews on the Alex Jones show, talking about how much he loves Hitler, and yes, this is different. Yes, it's unusual, but this is, I think, I'm going to make the claim, this is Kanye being Kanye. He's not crazy. He should not be. People say, people with their virtue signaling tweets or whatever, or posts on social media saying, "Oh, he just needs a doctor now. He's clearly losing it. He just lost it on national TV. He's having a nervous breakdown on national television. What a shame, what a pity." Like, they really feel shame. Like, they really feel pity for him. I mean, obviously these are people who are lying through their teeth, and just trying to sound compassionate, and it's sickening. I think that we're not seeing a radical discontinuity of who Ye was when he was Kanye, even though he changed his name to Ye, and I'm still not even sure why that happened, although he seems pretty touchy about anybody calling him Kanye now. Again, it's part of who the man is. It's part of what gave him the motivation to become one of the biggest stars in the world, and to become a master of his craft. But these things cut both ways, as we all know. So anyway, I just wanted to share my thoughts on Ye. He's not crazy. He's not crazy, guys. Stop talking about how he needs to be institutionalized. Stop talking about how he's off his meds. It's boring. These takes are boring. They're lame. They're dumb. A person can be a little off. He can be a little eccentric. He can be a little different. And Ye is all those things. But he's not crazy. All right. That's all. Thanks for watching.